Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking something incredibly fascinating, how a highly localized subculture born right in the streets of New York City evolved into this massive global movement of resistance. We're looking at the history of hip-hop. But we're not just looking at it as music. We're exploring it as a profound cultural force that was literally born from resilience.
To make sense of all this rich history, we've got a clear, structured roadmap for us today. We'll start with 1, the birth in the Bronx, then move to 2, countering the Reagan era. After that, we'll look at 3, gangster versus alternative, followed by 4, women demanding the mic, and finally wrap up with 5, a lasting cultural legacy.
So our journey today spans a few decades. We're going from the genre's origins in the 1970s Bronx, right through its massive mainstream crossover in the 1980s, and into its global evolution in the 1990s. As you'll see, the genre was continuously reacting to and challenging the social and political climate around it.
Starting off with Section 1, the birth in the Bronx.
Early hip-hop wasn't just a style of music, it was a holistic culture built on 4 foundational pillars: DJing, MCing, breakdancing, and graffiti art. Back in the 1970s, in Bronx neighborhoods where poverty and crime were really rampant, African-American youth combined these exact 4 elements to forge a powerful new sense of identity and community.
What started as local block parties transformed incredibly fast. DJs and MCs, armed with literally just turntables and microphones, turned these street gatherings into powerful platforms for storytelling. Early hip-hop truly emerged as a voice for the voiceless. It gave young people a way to chronicle their daily realities and, honestly, to escape, even if just for a few hours, the intense socio-economic challenges they were facing.
Which brings us to Section 2, countering the Reagan era.
And this brilliantly illustrates the stark contrast in American narratives during the 1980s. On one side, you had the Reagan administration's Morning in America, which really promoted optimism and corporate economic growth. But on the other side, hip-hop artists were presenting a very different reality. They were using their music to highlight gritty urban struggles, systemic inequality, and the daily marginalization happening in their communities.
Honestly, nothing captures this era quite like the 1982 track, The Message, by Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. That iconic lyric, "Don't push me 'cause I'm close to the edge," acted as a revolutionary historical document. Instead of just focusing on the party scene, lead MC Mel Mel critiqued the intense pressures of inner-city life. It completely proved hip-hop's capacity to take on serious, heavy societal issues.
Moving right along to Section 3, gangster versus alternative.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the stark juxtaposition between 2 monumental albums from the exact same era. Over on the left, we've got NWA's Straight Outta Compton, which was fueled by this aggressive, raw anger addressing police brutality. Then, right over on the right, you have De La Soul's 3 Feet High and Rising, which completely pivoted to themes of peace and harmony using playful, eclectic sampling. 2 completely different, yet entirely valid sonic responses to the world around them.
And despite its highly controversial nature, NWA's raw approach just absolutely exploded into the mainstream. Look at this number. 3 million. That is how many copies Straight Outta Compton sold in just the year after its release. To put that into perspective, they achieved this massive crossover appeal even though radio and MTV completely shunned them. I mean, the FBI even sent a letter accusing the group's distributor of promoting violence. But that controversy, it actually fueled massive demand.
So, the crucial point is that as hip-hop grew, it started crossing over to entirely new demographics. And this brings up the really complex dynamic of cultural appropriation. A fascinating case study here is the Beastie Boys. They actually transitioned from punk rock to become the first rap group to top the Billboard chart. But they navigated this predominantly black genre with genuine respect. They maintained their own authenticity, collaborated constantly, and actively used their massive platform to speak out against racism.
Let's move to Section 4, women demanding the mic.
So early on, the hip-hop landscape was incredibly hypermasculine, which presented some very real hurdles for female artists. But female pioneers stepped up as avatars for autonomy and completely changed the game. Groups like Salt and Peppa unapologetically address topics like sex and love purely from a female perspective, while artists like Queen Latifah dropped legendary anthems like Ladies First, boldly advocating for gender equality and demanding respect within their communities.
Listen to this incredibly insightful quote from Missy Elliott. She says, "As long as women have been around, we've been telling you all what to do, but we do it through music." I just love that. Her words, along with her groundbreaking visuals, provided an undeniable counter-narrative to the sexism that sometimes pervaded the broader culture.
And we can draw a direct line right from those historical pioneers to today's massive stars. Just like Megan Thee Stallion says, "I'm not afraid to be me, whatever that means. If that means I gotta go against the grain, that's what I'm gonna do." Today's female rappers continue to confront those old double standards head-on, completely reshaping the industry on their own turn.
Let's move to and see how this builds into Section 5, a lasting cultural legacy.
The legacy of hip-hop is truly cemented by defining figures who transformed their lived experiences into incredibly impactful art. Take Tupac Shakur, for example. He remains a towering figure in U.S. history because he's so perfectly blended this raw, unflinching storytelling with genuine activism against social injustice. Artists like Tupac proved once and for all that hip-hop isn't just party music. It is a profound lens through which we can understand the resilience, the creativity, and the everyday struggles that define the American experience.
So I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought. We've seen how a voice for the voiceless grew into an absolute global phenomenon. Now ask yourself, how does hip-hop serve as a tool for resistance and identity in your world today? Think about the artists you listen to and the deep messages they carry. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and I'll catch you on the next one.